Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Spark from Home. My name is Jasmine. I'm one of the members of the Telespark Science Center team here. And like you, I've been hanging out at home for the past couple of weeks. And my imagination, like yours, has been taking me all over the world to explore really wondrous and fantastic things. And so, as you may have known, if you've joined us on past Wednesdays, we've been doing our best to bring you really amazing people, experiments, ideas from all over the world and bring them to you at home while you prepare your lunches and sit down and gear up to imagine what it is you're going to do for the rest of the day. And today, I'm really excited because we have, well, Ryan, you're a former Sparkian. So Ryan's really amazing. Ryan Pilling, hello, welcome to Spark from Home.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
It's already begun. So Ryan
Already
Pilling
begun.
is a professional magician, and what's really fantastic is you used to be a member of the Telespark team when we opened up this building.
Yeah, I sure did. I was one of the facilitators when they first opened the new Spark. In
So
fact,
there's a
that's where I
solid chance we
really
saw you
honed the
doing
art
that
of
on the
plate
atrium
spinning was
floor.
in the lobby of Telespark.
I have memories of you doing that, without a doubt. See? Fantastic. The magic has begun.
Aha.
So, Ryan, we're joined today by a whole bunch of people, definitely, of course, in our own backyard in Calgary, but around the world. And so I just want to say thank you for joining us. And also thank you to everyone at home who's here. So as you know, like Ryan's a magician, but he also has a science background. And so I'm encouraging everyone as well, take a look at your chats. If you have questions, comments, things you're amazed by, or like you think you know how that trick works, feel free to chime in, pop it in the chat, and I'm gonna do my best over the course of our time together to share some of those questions and comments with you, Ryan. But Ryan, let's get started with you. Talk about why you got into magic. What an interesting career stream, and how
Well,
does
yeah.
rationalize with that?
I try and trace back the origins of it, and it's hard to nail down. I do remember as a young kid watching David Copperfield on TV, and I remember him making a train float in midair and then disappear on TV, and I thought that was pretty darn cool. Why wouldn't you? But I started thinking about wanting to do magic, and I don't quite remember how I'd connect those dots. But one year, I got a magic book for Christmas, and that was kind of the
Ah,
spark that ignited my passion for magic.
how
I
fantastic.
remember getting my whole family lined up on the couch, and I performed my first ever magic trick right there on Christmas morning.
And was it their reactions that got you hooked? What is it about performing magic that is a reward for you?
For me, it's because it brings in so many different pieces. It's a creative process to come up with tricks or come up with ideas of how to do tricks. It's a bit of an engineering or like crafting process to build tricks. There's history, you can go into I read all sorts of magic books. So it's just everything you could be interested in can be found within the little box of magic.
So that little Pandora's box actually has a ton inside of it, hey?
Yeah.
So how so how do you then combine science and magic? You know, we're a science center, so some people might be like, "What are you doing? Put on a magic show." To me, it makes a bunch of sense. To you, it makes a bunch of sense. Illuminate us. What do you? Where are the scientific hooks in your mind to the art of illusion?
Well, that's exactly it. Illusion is the science. Magic is magic, but illusion is where the science comes in. Because illusion is how your perceptions uh, go into your brain and the signals get crossed. And magicians learn to, I don't, the word manipulate sounds like it's evil, but we learn to manipulate your senses in certain ways. Let me show you one demonstration
Yeah,
here
please
of
do.
what it really means to do an illusion. So I'm going to create an illusion using a newspaper that I found. And some of the older folks watching might remember a newspaper is what you used to get news from.
Words on paper? No.
Yeah, no, really. Uh, but today I'm just using it as a physical item to show you an illusion. As I said, it's about the senses. We have five
Hmm.
senses. What is it? Sight, hearing, smelling, taste, and
Taste,
touch.
touch.
Right? The five senses. So I'm going to try and fool each of those senses the best I can through video here. because I'm going to start by fooling your eyes. I'm going to create a visual illusion. Watch. See, if you watch close, it looks like I'm tearing the paper, but I didn't really tear the paper.
No, 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 no. You tore the paper my eyes saw.
No, it's just an illusion, you see.
And I heard
sure
it.
does look
My
like I tear
ears
the
heard
paper.
it.
But we'll try this again. This time, an auditory illusion. Because if you turn up your speakers and listen close, oh, that sure sounds
the satisfying
like
tearing sound of paper.
Yeah, it sounds that way, but it is just an illusion. Now, this is where it gets a little harder because we're not in person, but if you could imagine, if you're here in this room with me, you could even smell the paper tearing.
Like
right?
fresh
Little particles of paper would enter your nostrils. I mean, if I had actually torn it, they would.
No, but you
But
did.
it's just an illusion.
No, it's not.
An olfactory illusion. And again, if you were here, I could invite you to actually taste that the paper's been torn. If you just lick the edge there, but that's not. Don't do that right now.
That's
Health
one
Canada
limitation
says
of
no. And it looks and feels as though the paper has been torn, but the fact of the matter is, I didn't actually tear the paper. It's all just an illusion. So that's what.
Wait a minute. No. It's torn. I see it. Like I see it.
Sure. It looks like it's torn. It sounds like it's torn, but the magic is how you combine all those into a little bit of a story, and it takes a bit of a theatrical leap. And if you're willing to believe in magic, just to pretend for a moment, well, maybe then.
Everyone at home disbelieve. No. Stop it. It even has creases.
That is how illusions become magic.
Okay, so my brain took in every piece of information that you gave me. I saw what you're doing. I could hear it. Like you said, don't put paper in your mouth, but if you did, you can taste it. But then voila, it's all there. And you didn't even take your hands away from the screen. Like if that were me, I would say, what's over there? And then I'd make everyone look away, and then I'd try it, and I'd still be scrambling to pick up the pieces.
That's a bit of a myth of magic, that idea of misdirection, right? It's the look over there. Well, that doesn't actually work in magic. We don't think of misdirection. Once you get into magic for a while, you understand it's not misdirection, which is directing attention away. It's actually controlling the direction of attention. So it's not look over there, it's look here. And while you're looking here, over here, maybe I can get away with something. So it's not distraction. It's actually a controlled focus that we rely upon.
Oh, how interesting. So when we were talking before, I was kind of curious, and I still am. And I bet people at home are curious too. So if you have questions or comments, please feel free and chime in, and I'll do my best to filter them up. But Ryan, we were talking about the elements of a magic trick. So have you designed your own tricks, and what components do you need to put into it? I mean, when we do a scientific experiment on the floor here at Spark as a facilitator and do a science demo, we know all the ingredients that make for a really fantastic cause and effect explosion, kaboom, everyone is amazed. That's the chemical reaction. What elements do you need for a magic trick for it to be successful? How do you build them?
There's kind of the three basic building blocks of any magic trick. I'll give you the terms here first. It is effect, method, and presentation. That's the three building blocks. So every trick has an effect, a method, and presentation. So to use the example of a newspaper, the effect is kind of the visual element or the actual magic trick itself. So the effect of that is that a newspaper gets torn and it gets put back together. That's it. Simple. Yeah. That's all there is to it. But magicians on top of that use that layer of presentation. And this is where it goes from just being a demonstration to more being an artistic kind of theatrical thing. So the presentation is the story we tell. In that newspaper, the story I was telling was talking about the different senses. I could do that same newspaper trick with a different presentation. Maybe the paper comes back together because we travel back in time.
Whoa.
Right? The effect would be the same. The paper would come back together, but the presentation would be something completely different. So there's totally separate layers, but they're linked together.
Okay. So how long?
And
Oh, go ahead.
well, I just want to mention the third thing is the method for the trick.
Of course.
And this is people who are outside of magic, and even some of those inside of magic, think it's all about the method. Not so much. Not so much. The truth is, the methods to magic are simpler than you might think. People like to think they're complicated, but they're simpler than you might think. And the fact of the matter, for something like the newspaper trick, that trick is hundreds of years old. As long as there's been newspaper, there's been that trick.
Okay, so that's what
over the years.
How long have some of these magic tricks that we know have been around for? Like I'm thinking, for the Salem, witch trials, did they just start to expose interesting magic tricks and then voila, we're all a little, released from
So yeah, over the years, magic has been a bit of a scientific pursuit. And there are books on magic, there are magazines about magic, there are people kind of doing research and development within magic, and it's just a constant evolution. So it goes back hundreds of years, but it's always growing and always changing. Case in point. Okay, Here's a trick that we don't even know the origin of this trick. And the fact of the matter is you've probably seen it before, right? You've seen a magician with two solid steel rings. This is back in tapestries in ancient China, you would see this sort of thing. Solid rings. Yet, before your very eyes, whoop, I missed it. Try that. Hang on, whoop. Before magic your very eyes. It's hard to keep this on screen. So you can see that's one solid ring. And flip it around to the other side, another solid ring. But again, this is an old trick, but it's still being developed and performed and changed. And of course, it's not magic. Nothing I'm doing here is real magic. It's all an illusion. It's a trick of the light, you see. You might think you see that ring on there, but it's really just the glint of the bright lights, because from the front it looks linked, doesn't it?
It does.
But watch, if I turn to the side,
there's a lot more space in between those than I thought there might be. Fascinating. Gosh. So
very old tricks, but it's always changing and always growing.
And so what are the different schools of magic? I think that there's a lot of people that have played various fantasy games. They also follow different types of magicians. Are there different schools of magic? And do you have a particular preference yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. No two magicians are quite the same. It's like people think of magic as one little box, as we talked about before. But inside that box, there's so much stuff. Because there's been experiences where I, as a magician, or other magicians, would go up to someone with a deck of cards. You say, hey, I'd love to show you a magic trick. And they go, oh, I've seen this one. What do you mean? There's literally hundreds of thousands of card tricks in the world. But people think of it as this tiny little thing. Oh, you've seen one card trick, you've seen them all. Sure, there's a lot of similar card tricks. But the interesting that I find interesting about this, no one would go to a piano player and go, oh, it's okay, I've heard this one, without even hearing the song.
And so for cards, that would be, that's illusion. Is that right?
Magic is always a blend of ingredients.
I guess
and illusion is part of it. Illusion is only one ingredient. Some tricks are more illusion than others, and others are more deception than illusion. There's a distinction there.
Yeah, break those down for us.
Let's talk about this. I'm going to switch to my table view camera just so you can see exactly what I'm doing here.
I'll show everyone here by pinning your video. All right.
All right. There we go. Now we can see nice and clearly a deck of cards. So the illusion is when you see something that doesn't have... Actually, let me back up for just 1 second and talk about exactly what an illusion is. This is an illusion. It's a little picture of a cat. Actually, hang on. Let me zoom in one closer.
She's very cute, and she's black. She's a black cat, so very fitting.
One black cat, and I have a second black cat here. There's a slight difference between the two cats.
Ah, the
You
collar.
might notice the collar. The collar is the only thing that you see that's different. However, there is a subtle difference. It's harder to see. Fortunately, I have this scientific instrument called a catometer. It measures cats.
Perfect. Very
So I'm
scientific.
going to measure the red collared cat, and you can see it's just past 7 on the catometer. And meanwhile, the blue collared cat, why, that's just over 7 on the catometer. So it's hard to see. It looks
subtle.
visually similar, but the blue collared cat is slightly longer than the red collared cat. But here's where it gets weird. I can create an illusion, especially on camera, that the blue cat starts to grow.
Ooh.
Now it looks bigger, right?
He does look bigger.
So that is technically an illusion. It's an illusion created by depth of field, depth of vision.
Mm-hmm.
The weirder part is, if I take that same blue cat and I set it back down on the table,
It got way bigger.
look at that. So this one's still just over 7, and that one's now far longer.
Stop it. You're giving everyone really fantastic magic tricks that just super fitting for Zoom calls and hangouts on Facebook.
Yeah. So actually, while I'm on that topic, let's learn this one. Let's learn this, because I can actually give everyone a printout of this illusion.
Ah, fantastic. Okay.
This is the printed
Make sure this
version.
is
No
easy to
cats.
Download for everybody after.
So going back to the history of this is called the Jastrow illusion, named after a psychologist who did studies using illusions. And you can see the green number 2, I don't even know what to call these, little piece of paper.
Yeah.
But clearly number 2 is the smaller one, right? Until you take number
clearly.
2 and put it there.
Wait, and it looked the same size when it went directly over the one, and now it's bigger.
That's right. It's 100% visual illusion right here. There's no magic at all.
Oh, stop. See, anyone at home, we're going to make sure that you can get this as a download and you can try it yourself. So what's happening here?
Well, it's simply the relative size of these things. This is a weird shape. It's not a rectangle. It's not a smooth rectangle. It's curved. So this side of this curved shape is a lot longer than this side of the curved shape. So I'm going to break the illusion for you. Because what you're seeing is the relative size of this big side compared to the relative size of that small side. But, oh, hang on. I'm going to break the illusion by doing this. Now they clearly look the same size because you're comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges.
Exactly. Huh.
But as soon as you flip that around, by comparison, it looks a lot smaller.
Fascinating.
Now, there's an extra level in this too. If you were to take this and move it extra close to the camera, right? Watch, it even gets bigger.
Oh yeah, huge.
That's just me messing around. That's
It's
this is actually. I hid that underneath. That's. But that is purely illusion. So really, there's no magic to that. That is a demonstration of an illusion. It's not a magic trick per se, because there's no deception really. Deception is when we talk about being a little bit not dishonest, because I'm not necessarily lying to you. The difference between lying and deception is that when I lie, I say something that is not a fact.
Fair.
The sky is purple.
Right.
That's not a fact. That is a lie.
That's a lie.
But a deception is when I allow you to believe a lie. How about that? You tell yourself the lie.
It becomes part of the game.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you a simple card trick
Okay, perfect.
that is more deception than it is illusion. Let's try this. Deck of cards.
Deck of
Okay.
cards.
And hang on, I just give those a little shuffle. Okay, we'll try this. I'm going to use 2 cards. I'm going to take those 2 cards, the 6 and the 9. I'm going to put them into the middle of the deck.
Okay.
And at no time will this deck of cards leave this frame. I'm not doing anything sneaky.
All right.
They go into the middle. You can see them going into the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to touch the cards. I'm not going to shuffle the cards. You saw them go right in the middle. I will not change that fact. What I'm going to do is just give it a wave. Snap my fingers. I've pulled 2 cards out of the deck.
Oh.
There's the 9.
No.
And there's the 6. So that one is there's no illusion because everything you saw was exactly what it was. There was no visual illusion in that, but there was a deception. And I don't know if there's any keen-eyed observers out there who might
Anyone's
know
welcome to take a guess.
What that deception was there.
And so is it that because my eyes saw you put them into the middle of the deck, but is it about that particular moment? Were you having our eyes look in a particular place to actually do something in that moment? What happened? Also, my world crumbles when you do this because everything I believe to be true just suddenly gets mixed around.
I love it. I love hearing that. For me, as a magician, that's what it's about, is giving people that experience. You know, magicians are the only people who are honest, really, because we tell you we're going to lie, and we do. And we create this safe place to be fooled. Out in the world, it's not so safe. But here in a magic show, it's a safe place to be fooled and enjoy not knowing.
So in your mind, are there important takeaways? I mean, you were a science educator, and now as a magician, it seems like you take some of that practice into your work. Is that understanding of knowing when you're being fooled actually part of a toolbox that we can use for ourselves in our everyday lives? Like, what does deception teach us about how to maybe to raise our eyebrows and look for things when we're out in the everyday world?
Yeah, absolutely. The two, to me, that link is so important. And I take that really seriously. When I do a magic show, I make it absolutely clear, especially to the younger kids watching, that I am not magic. I'm not doing anything magical. I'm not doing anything supernatural. Everything I do is this illusion combined with skill, combined with fun. So I make that very clear. It's like a disclaimer on my show. But I invite people to kind of relax their brain for a little bit, not be so nitpicky for the next hour, whatever it is. Let's just sit back and enjoy the deception. But the fact of the matter is, outside of a magic show, it's not as safe a place. Sometimes you can be deceived out there in the world or on the internet. There's a lot of deception, and it's not necessarily so innocent as a magic show.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you an example of this.
Yeah, please do.
Let's try this. My slide right there. There's 2 gentlemen in this photo. Let's say you were on the playground and you fell and you hurt your knee real bad. Which of these 2 people are you going to ask for help when you hurt your knee?
Well, the fellow that looks like a doctor, of course.
Right. It makes perfect sense. I mean, if you only it's a split decision, you need to act fast. Who are you going to talk to? The guy, obviously, who looks like a doctor. See? And that's a deception.
Wait a minute.
In fact,
see a small clue.
you see things like this on the internet all the time. Here's a picture of a doctor and this quote. Children in Canada are exposed to dihydrogen monoxide from the air in their home. And this same chemical is found in pesticides. Like and share if you want to prevent chemicals entering our homes. Well, that sounds like a no-brainer, right? You're going to like and share. You don't want dihydrogen monoxide in your home.
No, exactly. Or so.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
If there's any students of chemistry out there, think about this. Dihydrogen Monoxide, that means two hydrogens and one oxide.
I
If
have
there's
some
two
with me right
hydrogens, two H, one O, wait a minute, H2O, H2O, what does that sound like?
now. We need it to
Water.
survive.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, dihydrogen monoxide is water. But boy, when you see that slide, when you see that, where is it here? When you see that slide, it looks kind of scary. It looks like and the doctor makes it look official. But here's the
Well, his
thing.
arms are crossed, so clearly he's an expert.
Yeah, clearly he's an expert. He's got the stethoscope. But here's the thing. This guy is not a doctor. I wouldn't ask him for medical advice.
He's a stock photo model.
I wouldn't even ask him to paint my house because the truth of the matter is this guy is an actor or a model who will be anybody that the photographer wants him to be in that moment. So you can't trust what you see all the time. You have to think critically. You have to look at, where might the magic trick be in this situation? Because you never know. You never know. And remember that other guy? That guy?
Yeah, that
Turns
guy.
out he's the guy you should go talk to about your knee.
Well, he looks like the most fun doctor you could ask for.
He is the most fun doctor. That's Dr. Jeff Pearson. He's works out of California. He's got a medical degree in osteopathic medicine, which means talking about how your bones and your skeleton all work together and how your body functions as a whole unit. He teaches in colleges and universities, and he's a magician.
See, and he's part of the magic community, and he knows how to get to that funny bone.
That's right.
I think that's really important. A big part of what we do with Spark as a science center is try to teach critical thinking. But critical thinking and curiosity and amazement don't have to be fully separate. Those two actually go really wonderfully together. And so I think you're showing us that magic is really a really wonderful means to do that.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's that safe place to play within this world of deception.
Well, our team is taking a look at some of the questions, Ryan, just, from a couple of the different platforms. And I'm just going to wait for a quick moment for some of them to be copied and pasted in Zoom. And then I can see them and share them with you. But, while I wait for a couple of those to bubble up, because I know that there's some people that are just itching to ask some questions, I'm curious, do you have a favorite magic trick?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do. And it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. And I'm gonna try to perform it. It's not the sort of trick that necessarily works great over video, but I'm gonna try just here. We're gonna try an experiment.
All right. I'll focus it on you. 1 second here.
So normally I would get you to pick out one of these cards, but we'll try and be as fair as we can be. Jasmine, just name any of the cards you see and we'll use that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with 5 of hearts.
The 5 of hearts, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. So in this room, I have probably like 20 decks of cards. I'm a magician. It's just tools of the trade. So I don't want you to think that I have a stack of 5 of hearts next to me that I can use. So we're gonna make this 5 of hearts especially unique. I've got a marker.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start by putting a big J on this. That's for Jasmine. But of course, Jasmine, I knew that you would be here today. So we need to make this more unique than that.
Okay.
I want you to name a shape that I can draw on this.
Oh, let's go with, I love me a really round oval. Nice and
an oval. Kind of looks like a potato, but I did my best.
Potato, I like it.
Hang on, I gotta get the lighting right on this. There we go. And how about an animal? Name an animal.
Bear. I saw one on the
bear.
Hiking.
Great, I'm gonna draw a bear.
All right.
It's really hard to draw things when your hand's moving.
Also, no one will judge your artistic skills. You just have a whole bunch of people watching. It's fine.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, bear-ish.
So the J Bear potato card is now one of a kind in the world, right? There's only one like it in the entire world. So we've got that. And I have a little clip here. Let's see if I can just clip this card so it stays in view. Perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Trying to be as fair as I can be with this. Because I'm going to try this in Zoom. I said it's an experiment. So just in case anything goes wrong, I've also got this, which is my emergency backup plan.
As one does, just strings hanging from your ceiling, Ryan. Wonderful.
No big deal. I just wanted to make sure that's just easy reach in case I needed it. All right, we're going to take Jasmine's card and put it somewhere back in the middle of the deck here.
Okay, excellent. Thank you to your assistant.
So Jasmine, one last look at your Bear potato
everyone
card.
Else, put your eyes on it. Okay.
As it goes into the middle of the deck, and I have to hold myself really awkwardly to make sure that I don't leave the frame. I'm going to try and shuffle. All right. So inside this deck is a whole lot of different cards, but including one special card. Now I'm going to try and make your card disappear from the deck entirely, just like that. I think it's gone. I think it's gone. Let's.
Okay, was everyone looking?
Yep, it's gone.
What? No.
Ta-da!
No one saw it disappear. Where did it go? Everyone was watching. Your hands were shuffling the card. It was in there before. It's in there. Just look.
Hang on. It's gone from here, but I wanted to show you this. Make sure this doesn't leave the frame.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
That's a card with a paperclip on it.
Yeah, I'm closing my eyes. I want everyone else
off.
at home to see this because this is too.
The card that I had paperclipped hanging there the whole time was also a 5 of hearts, just like yours.
Yeah, but it can't be the same one that you drew on.
It would be absolutely impossible if it also had a J and a bear and a potato.
That's crazy. So. Okay, one, mind blowing. I have no idea how you did that. And I'm trying to think about the elements that you've mentioned before. And I just it still makes no sense. It's like sorcery, but it's magic and it's science. You've already taught me. So something has happened there and it's real because you don't tell lies. Magicians are the most honest in the trade. So really quickly here, Ryan, I'm seeing a couple of questions come up. And Katie wants to know, hey, Katie's 8 years old. Can you do magic at 8 years old?
Can you do magic? Could Katie do magic?
Yeah.
Absolutely, she could. I can teach a magic trick to everybody right now, Katie included. So Katie, watch close.
Okay, pay attention.
Show everyone how they can have 10 fingers normally, but magically have 11 fingers. I'm going to show you how to have 11 fingers, just like me. See? Okay, maybe the math is wrong. Let me count them for you. That's 1, that's 2. We'll save those 3 for later. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, wait, do it again.
Sure, 11 fingers.
Count along.
That's 1, that's 2. We'll save those 3 for later. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
I know what you did there.
That is, it's a bit of an auditory illusion. Right?
Yeah, because you said 3, so my brain processed it in the sequence up to 10. So that's why you were able to skip over, because you didn't count one of them. You just said 3 because you had 3 there. Now you're getting into the world of finger binary and ethnomathematics, which is bonkers and very cool. Okay, so Katie, I want you to try that around the dinner table tonight and see if you can amaze your family.
Yeah. I'll go over it once more, just a little slower so everyone can catch it. So as Jasmine said, you hear number 3, but I don't count a finger. So watch close. That's 1, that's 2. We'll save those 3 for last. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I go from save those 3 for last right over to 4.
And you had us think, like counting along with you, so we felt satisfied when you said that 3. Okay, everyone, put that one in here. And as we were saying, Ryan's going to give us a download later, so you can actually have a couple items and be able to practice a few magic tricks at home.
While we're teaching tricks, I do want to quickly revisit the 6 and the 9 trick. Okay, now that we've had a chance to think about it, I'm curious if anyone got this sorted out. So remember the trick? I put the 6 and the 9 inside the deck, and I pulled them out in a snap.
Right.
So here's the secret to this trick. This, again, there's not necessarily an illusion, it's more a deception. Because look, inside the deck are 2 cards.
Oh.
Like that. Does that look familiar at all?
Oh my gosh. I see what you've done here.
Aha! The old switcheroo. Here's what happens. Before I started the trick, this 6 was on top and this 9 was on bottom. Of course, they were flipped the right way. So you didn't know they were there. So if that 6 is there and that 9 is there, and when I show these, I don't say, look, I have the 6 of diamonds and the 9 of hearts. I just say I have the 6 and the 9. Very easy to get mixed up. 6 and the 9.
Yeah.
I take the 6 and I put it in the middle, and I truly do put it in the middle. And I take the 9 and I put it in the middle, and I truly do put it in the middle. Those 2 cards are seriously lost. I don't know where they are. But I don't have to know where they are, because I know where the top card is, and I know where the bottom card is. So I'm gonna pinch the deck, thumb on top, fingers underneath like this. And I'm gonna use a little bit of physical science here. I'm gonna use momentum and inertia. I'm gonna move the deck across like that, pinching a little bit on my fingers and thumbs. And what happens is all the cards between the top and the bottom are gonna slip out, leaving the top and the bottom cards.
Boom. Everyone at home, practice that in your room alone for a little bit. So by the time you do it in front of your friends and family, you're super smooth with that action, because it's the worst when you're dropping all those cards at your own feet on the living room floor.
But you have to learn. That's part of the learning process.
Like everything else, you practice with purpose. Ryan, we have a question, and some folks would love to see the ring illusion again.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, they say one of the laws of magic is to never repeat the same trick for the same audience. But since we're here and we're all learning, I can repeat the trick once.
Once. Great.
The ring illusion. Solid steel rings. Watch. I can do this slowly or quickly. Last time I did it pretty quickly, so I'll try doing it slowly. I'm gonna rub the rings together just a little bit. Watch close. Got an itch. It's getting very warm in this small room. Gonna rub the rings together. Did it work? I don't know. Hang on. Let's find out.
It did. What a satisfying thing.
Now, some people think that I cheat at this, too. They think I cheat. And, well, the truth of the fact is that I am cheating. People think you can just pull the ring off. That's not true. What you need to do is reach through the ring, grab the part opposite the ring, and then it just comes right off.
Huh. Still, it's just amazing to watch your hands work, because in my mind's eye, it's just all actually happening.
Years of practice. And, you know, there's different ways to do this trick. If you're a beginner, you could do it this way, right? You just put your finger in there, and it kind of creates that illusion.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
A little bit. If you practice a little bit, you could use your thumb. That makes it look a little cleaner, a little more open. But there's a danger. You could pinch your thumb in between the rings, so I don't want to risk that. I wouldn't do it that way.
You did it again.
Yeah. But again, the funny thing is, even though they sound linked and they look linked, the truth of the matter is, again, they just look that way on camera, because from the side, there's nothing at all.
There's nothing at all. Always take a look at the side, angle over. Now, Will is wondering if you have the ability to make anything float.
Well, we could try this. Let's see. And sorry, who was it that had asked?
Will.
Will. Okay, Will. Now Will's not here in the room with us. So Jasmine, on behalf of Will, could you name a playing card?
Oh, name a playing card. Okay, let's say 5 of clubs for Will. Will, I'm just taking one for the team for you.
Five of clubs. I don't know. Is that the one I folded up? No, that was the 5 of hearts. We'll
That's
try
probably why
this.
it's stuck in my mind. Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this out. Now, of course, I don't have magic powers. I can't make anything float, but I can use static electricity to make things attract.
Oh my goodness. Will, I hope that was rewarding. So we have a few minutes left, Ryan. Isabella was wondering, how long does it take? Now it's typed in as magic. So I'm going to wonder if that's a matter of like, is that creating or mastering it perhaps? That's the guess I'm going to take. How long does it take to master magic?
Well, it takes as long as you have, as long as you've got. Because there's no point when you're ever going to be done. There's so many avenues within magic that you can explore for the rest of your life and always be learning. And that's what I try and do. I'm always reading books. I'm always learning something new. And quite often, by learning something new, I'm actually learning something old. I go back to the 1930s and the 1940s. One of my favorite eras of magic is the 1930s and 40s. So I'm always reading, always growing, and I will never be done.
I think that's a really fantastic message. And that goes, I think, to every stream in life and for all of us, that mastery in any lifelong.
On that note, I do want to just add one thing. So at the beginning, you may have seen me do this. Yeah. And I said, as I was spinning a plate, that's skill. That's just a skill that I learned. And I used to teach people how to do this when I was at Spark, right in the lobby. You can probably still to this day go and learn how to spin a plate some days. So I would see a lot of people come in and try this. And they'd try it out and they'd try this and they'd fall and they'd drop the plates over and over and they'd quit and they'd walk away and they didn't learn how to spin a plate. But about, 1 out of every 60 people that I showed how to do it would stay there for about 10 minutes or 12 minutes or 20 minutes. And they stayed there until they learned how to spin a plate. And it only took them 20 minutes of their life. And then they knew how. So you can work forever to master this, but it also doesn't take that long to get started. You can learn a magic trick in 20 minutes and know how to do it forever.
There we go. And I think, what I love about the world of science and science centers and connecting community is that we've had a chance even online to connect with people like yourself, but the messages are really common, I think, when we look at mastering pursuits or exploring new things and staying curious. And, a few weeks back, we had Dr. Shauna Pandia, who's an aquanaut, a citizen scientist, and astronaut candidate. And she said, practice with purpose. And I think that that's a really beautiful message that I'm hearing from you as well, is that practice with purpose. To your point, it might take 20 minutes to learn how to do one thing really well. And if you give up after one, you'll never get there. And so I encourage everyone at home right now to pick one thing, practice with purpose, and try it on your friends and family. We will, as a follow-up to this, Ryan, you and I'll collect up a couple of things, and the Spark team will share them out so everyone can do a little bit of magic at home. And on behalf of everyone at home today, thank you so much, Ryan. Ryan is Ryan Pilling. You can find him at Wow Ryan. Take a peek. He's in Ottawa right now, but as we can see, we can still connect here in Calgary. So we're all online. We're all over the place right now. So if you want to reach out to Ryan directly, you can find him there. And with that, That's Spark Science from Home this Wednesday. Ryan, thank you. I'll let you poof out of here in a quick moment. But before we do, I want to say thank you to everyone at home who has been joining us lately. A couple weeks ago, we launched the Yes, I Can Challenge, which was a challenge to think about what actions you could take, the designs you could draw, the contraptions you could build, the thingamajigs and the what sits in your window that would bring community together, support neighbors, and I think connect with one another and help each other out during this time. And we saw a phenomenal wave of really cool, very magical and inspired contraptions and designs come our way, for physical distancing to delivering care packages to neighbors to projecting on the front of your house so those walking by could see. So I want to thank everyone on behalf of the entire community for sharing those ideas with us. And if you check out the SparkScience.ca website later today, you'll see the winners, but also a handful of the other contraptions that were designed. So thank you, everyone. Keep connecting with your community. Keep connecting with us here at Spark. And as the weather's been getting nicer, we're all getting outside. And so we look forward to finding really fantastic ways to do that with all of you here soon. And until then, abracadabra. We're going to poof right on out of here.